pop culture and just got completely forgotten.
So, is it your standard just like, I don't know, stuffy old men in rooms talking about marrying women?
No,
type
that's what
stuff?
the cover looks like, doesn't it?
That is what the cover looks like.
I'm going to tell you that it's not like that at all. They're a traveling music group.
Okay.
So it's kind of funny because it does take 250 pages to get to that point. So the first...
It's a long prologue. Okay.
Yeah. The first, third of the book, or more, is meeting the characters and them getting together.
Blues Brothers method.
Kind of. So we have Mr. Oakroyd. He's my favourite. In my head, he's the main character. Maybe that's just because we meet him first and we hear a bit more about him than the others.
Sure.
He comes home to his wife, and I hate these tropes now, but it's the husband and wife don't get along, and she's like, here comes my good-for-nothing husband. He's just done a hard day's work. She served some nice tea to his son and his friend, and some nice fish, but giving him leftovers. And he's like, why can't I get any good food in this house? And it's here. This typical sitcom level husband and wife don't get along.
Yeah.
I don't
the
like
husband's
that.
the idiot type thing, and
Yeah. And she keeps saying, well, let's just leave then. I don't even want you here anyway. She just views her husband as a hassle who comes in and asks for a meal twice a day. But other than that, she has zero interest in speaking with him or seeing him.
Okay.
And she wants to move a lodger in to help with money. And he's like, I will not do it. If you move him, if he comes in, I go. And she's like, cool, get out then. So he does.
And then she has no money, and then dies?
I think she doesn't think... Yes!
Okay, well.
Spoilers.
Easy enough to get.
So, yeah, that's his story. But then he does some funny stuff, he goes along and he meets, a homeless guy, but the guy's won in gambling that day, so he's got a lot of money, and he's drunk, so he gives him the money. But then I think the next day, reports that it's been stolen or whatever, and the policeman chases him home, and, there's some shenanigans. This could have been almost, another one of those type of 100-page short stories in itself, this story of Mr. Oakroyd. He quits he gets fired at his job in the factory for standing up for himself, and he goes to talk to the union, and a lot of different stuff happens. So this is a little story. Such an unsupportive wife, though. He comes home and he's like, why are you late? Your dinner's burning, because I just let it keep cooking until you came in. So, sucks to be you.
Jeez.
And he's like, yeah, I'm late home because I went to talk to the union because I got fired. With no sympathy, it's just well, here we go. What have you got to done that for? My useless husband getting fired. It's oh, cool. So he's got suicidal now, probably. It's just a horrible way to treat someone you're meant to love.
Does he do anything to her? Or is he entirely...
No, not really.
Devoid of any blame?
Not that we see, anyway. We don't see him do anything bad to her. They have a daughter who's moved to Canada, and he really just wants to visit her someday. He writes letters to her, and he seems like a nice guy, to be honest.
Okay.
There is a funny bit where these are all uneducated English peasants, and one person's like, I hear your daughter... It's also written... those books that are written in dialect speak?
Ah, yes, the Wuthering Heights.
It's like that. For a lot of the book. I was I hear your daughter's in Merricky. And he's like, not Merricky, Canada. It's all the same. It's alright, whatever. So...
Might be soon enough. Politics. Anyway.
Then he goes off on the road and he gets involved in... he kind of gets into some shenanigans. Some guys are stealing cars or something and they don't have a license and they give him a lift in the back of the truck, but then he finds out about the thing, so he has to run away from them. And then he goes in to get a lunch somewhere and get cleaned up, and the guy has a big conversation about how he wants to take the human line and let people do nice things and get all cleaned up and everything. But then he can't pay because the two guys in the lorry stole the money from him that he received from the homeless drunk gambler. So now he can't pay for the lunch he's just had, so then he has to run away from that guy. So now he thinks the police are after him, so he's happy to run away and not tell his family or anyone where he is.
Okay.
Then there's a Miss Trant. Her story's a little bit shorter, but she also goes to join this group. And the way it sort of works with her, she gets left some money. Someone gets left money, but he won't take it. He gives it to her instead because it would have been her inheritance or something like that. There's a little sad story where she meets a woman who is desperately trying to get her husband back, even though the husband's off with someone else. But the woman just turns up and she's like, well, I love him anyway, I'll take him back. I'm going to stand here and make him come back to me. And he's in living with his mistress. And he does go back. He goes back. He's like, yeah. She plays like the dominating wife. She just comes in, just like, get out of there now, come back with me. And he's like, I better go then. And the other girl's heartbroken. And that's irrelevant because we never see these people again. This is just part of Miss Trant's prologue.
Okay.
And the third guy is called Inigo. And I can't remember much about him. I think he doesn't do anything exciting. But those three people all get together.
Okay. Now we got the band all together.
Along with others. So we're like almost halfway through the book, but the band is together.
Good. Now do the police come?
No, they're originally called the Dinky Doos. But after some time, they're like, okay guys, that's a crap name. So they rename themselves the Good Companions. And they're just like a touring music hall. They'll just go to your town and do like some bits in the local music hall. So they're garbage. Like, I think Inigo is the only one who's got any talent, and he writes a song called Slippin' Round the Corner, which they say, like, would be a big hit, and if he were to sell the rights to it, he would make, like, a lot of money. It kind of seems like the others don't have anything to offer.
It's just the friends that you're in high school with. It's like, let's start a band. It's like, well, you can't sing, you can't play guitar. This guy can play drums, but
that's all they got. Yeah. It's kind of like that. This Trant's trying to manage the band, and some of the other guys are performing, and there's like, there's little bits of the different characters, there's little love stories between them and all this type of stuff. Susie Dean, I think, falls in love with Inigo in the end, but basically, it's quite funny because they do their shows. They do like a little bit of variety, like music, dancing, this type of stuff. The songs are all just like really written by hacks. Alfred is walking around the table. So, the songs will be occupational. So they give the lyrics for one, and it's just like, when you see me walking down the street, you will know I'm on my beat, because I'm a policeman. I'm a policeman, yes. And it even will have in the margin, like, do like a winky face, wait for the audience to laugh. So you're like, I'm a policeman, like, raise eyebrows, like, ah. It's like, okay, this is terrible. So all their stuff, apart from Slipping Around the Corner, is just like old hack nonsense, basically. They almost make it big because they invite like a guy, like a big famous hotshot to come and watch their show, but then a fist fight breaks out during that performance, and he gets hit. So he's like, well, that's your career done, basically.
Yeah, because that was their fault. Yeah.
So, I'm not going to spoil how it ends, like whether it works out for them or not. I will just say that Mr. Oakroyd eventually goes home to find, since you spoiled it anyway, his wife dead, and he's like, well, I've got nothing else to do. I guess I'll just go visit my daughter in Canada. So that kind of works out for him, I guess. I think that's... Yeah, it literally says, stop for patter during the policeman song, and then it says, or insert also doctor or postman. Like, it could just be any occupational nonsense,
I'm a postman. Yes. I deliver the mail.
It also...
Kindergarten could do better.
It also seems like no one respects them. Like, one of the girls, like, her sister turns up and is like, you're doing music hall stuff? Like, this is atrocious. You better come back with me, get a steady job, a good husband. And she's like, no, I want to perform. And, like, people are fighting them on it, I guess.
Yep. Trying to marry the actress again and just send the family name down the drain.
Things will happen at the performances, like the fist fight, and one of the guys collapses on stage, and they have to like wheel it, drag him off and cover up. It doesn't seem like the stuff is done very well, apart from like their one hit that they have, basically. But they fill out some of these little music halls or whatever, and it seems like they generally do okay. In one town, they get into a fight with the local cinema owner. Because he comes in and he's like, everybody's coming to see your show tonight. No one's coming to my cinema. I'm going to be like a bad... Alfred is doing his exercises, I guess.
Is that what it is?
Oh, I hope that's what it is. Naughty Alfred.
He's crying.
Aww.
Because you didn't watch him dance.
Alfred, dance for me. I would say he dances just about as well as the guys in this book. So.
I'm a policeman. Yes.
Sorry, can you do that again on video?
I'm a policeman. Yes.
Stop for patter. So that's Alfred. I think that's the Good Companions. I don't think I've got much more to say about it. There's obviously stuff happens, like they have a really bad week in one town, and that's called the Black Week. And then, like, another time, it's like, oh, it went well here, and, then they meet with people, and whatever. Like, stuff happens, but it's all inconsequential. More or less, that's the story. Did that story need to take
600 pages?
620 pages?
No.
Probably not. But it does bring me to our sponsor for this month. We are sponsored by touringwithouttalent.edu. So if you'd like to form a little group that really has no talent and go touring